Good afternoon, everybody, and welcome back to Hybrid Now. I came across a couple of interesting things about the Prius that I thought I'd run over with you guys as I continue going through the manual, and something I just came across on the web. Now, we're going to start with the shifter. Let's take a look inside the car, because I actually noticed this the other day when I was out driving around, and I wasn't quite sure of what it really meant. And what I'm talking about is this B right here. You notice you've got reverse, which is over and up, and then you've got drive, which is over and down, and then of course neutral. But you have this B here. And I did a little research on the web, and then I consulted the manual. The manual is really not very explanatory as to what that really is. We're gonna grab the manual real quick, and I'll tell you what it says about that. What it's for is engine braking, but let's grab the manual and take a quick look, because it's kind of a little bit vague, I think, as far as I'm concerned anyway. All right, what it says here, and this is on page 187 of the manual, in case you're interested in looking it up if you have a Prius. But it says B, applying engine braking or strong braking when the accelerator pedal has been released on steep downslopes, etc. So what that's for, the way I interpret it, and from my research on the web, and let me know if you think I'm wrong, maybe I am, but what I came across is that it's if you're going down a steep grade, let's say you're in the mountains somewhere, and you don't want to keep your foot on the brake because brakes can overheat. So you switch to this B, or engine braking mode, so that when you're going down the hill, the transmission in essence, or the car itself, reduces acceleration down the steep grade so that you don't have to use your brakes. Now, some of the information that I came across stated that when you're doing this, it does charge the hybrid battery as well. So you kind of have to keep an eye on that. I don't believe that you can possibly overcharge the hybrid battery, but what I read on the web kind of had a little asterisk that stated that it is possible. So kind of a gray area there. Although I can't imagine that you're going to be going down a hill long enough where that would be a problem. I mean, sooner or later you're going to get to the bottom and you're going to either level out or start going up the other side, right? But that's what it's for, engine braking. Now, shifting into it, apparently you can do it from drive. So you have to be in drive. You can't go directly from park to engine braking, nor I don't know why you would, because you'd want to be moving when you need to use that anyway, right? So you'd be in drive, and then you'd go over to the right and then down to that engine braking feature. The car is going to give you an alarm, by the way. It's going to give a buzzer or a beep to let you know that you've done this. And the car, of course, has fail-safes built in, so it's not going to let you do it if it's not working or not necessary. So take the warnings with a grain of salt. Now, the next thing that I wanted to talk about, I've had this car for a while myself, and if you're not familiar, or maybe you're new to the channel, it is a 2023 Toyota Prius all-wheel drive limited. It is the hybrid version, it is not the prime version. And in hindsight, and I've mentioned this before in other videos, had I been a little bit more educated, I probably would have gotten the prime. I was under the impression that prime was fully electric. I don't know why I thought this, but I did. And I didn't want a car like a Tesla that I'd have to plug in and charge up, and that was the only way I could drive it. I was completely wrong, I admit it. I guess for me, I better do a little more research as I delve into this hybrid world. It's the first hybrid vehicle I've ever had, so I'm just going to claim newbie ignorance. But anyway, breaking in the Toyota Prius, because it is a hybrid, is there anything different about it? Anything different that you should do? And Toyota has a section, it's on page 168 of the manual, that states what you should do to break in the car. It says here, to extend the life of the vehicle, observing the following precautions is recommended. For the first 200 miles or 300 kilometers, for those of you that live in the metric world, avoid sudden stops. So in other words, my assumption on that is that you don't want to ruin your brakes. You don't want to be on the brakes hard for the first 200 miles, so be gentle. Next it says for the first 600 miles or 1,000 kilometers, do not drive at extremely high speeds. Now that used to not be a concern with the Toyota Prius, right? I mean, who's driving around at 100, 110 miles an hour in a Toyota Prius? But now you can, because they increased all the horsepower and the fun factor in it, so you kind of want to drive it fast. But you have to throttle yourself a little bit. Hold off for the first 600 miles. Next up, avoid sudden acceleration. Again, we're talking about a Prius, right? When was acceleration even a consideration? Well, it is now. You should not accelerate quickly. For the first, let's see, I guess 600 miles. We're still under the 600 miles category. So don't be trying to race people off the line, even though you're going to be able to beat a lot of the cars out there these days in your Toyota Prius. And I guess that's one reason to leave the name across the back, which I removed, by the way, but they're going to see that they just got stomped by a Toyota Prius. How funny is that? Next up, do not drive continuously in low gears. Kind of hard to do if you're in rush hour traffic, maybe, but you need to vary the speeds that you drive at so that you can run through different gears. You don't want to putz around going 10 miles an hour, let's say in second gear, for 100 miles or something crazy. I imagine it would have to be a lot of miles to cause problems, but why risk it? Lastly, it says do not drive at a constant speed for extended periods. Now, that's going to be the same scenario, I guess, as driving in low speeds. You don't want to be driving at excessive speeds and keep it in a higher gear or gears for extended periods of time during the first 600 miles. So I think generally 600 miles is really the break-in period. On this car, I am really not quite there yet myself. I'm pretty close. I might be there. I don't know. I'd have to look at how many miles I've driven, but I'm getting there if I'm not. Anyway, that's just a way to break the car in and, according to the manual, extend the life of it a little bit. Now, as far as the car so far for me, I can't help but mention it. I love the car. I think it is absolutely awesome, and I would highly recommend it to anybody out there who's looking for something in this class. Toyota hit a massive home run with this car. Anyway, leave a comment, particularly on that engine braking section. If there's something I am missing or something maybe I stated incorrectly. I'm going by the manual and what was on the web, and of course you know the internet is always right. Thanks for watching. Stay safe out there. Bye.